perhaps Bengaluru had one of its most horrifying nights, one of its worst nights of recent times last night on the 11th of August, 12th of August. What unfolded in two parts, in two areas of Bengaluru was a night of horror. 3 people have been killed. Over 70 cops have been injured. It all started over a Facebook post, exchange of social media posts. The communal hatred that people indulge in, that must stop on social media. It began with that, but it ended up in a horrific mob attack on 2 different police stations. Let me actually tell you what happened, the sequence of events. This will send shivers down your spine. Some of the stories that are now emerging of what happened on the streets of Bengaluru in DJ Halli and KG Halli area last night, viewers. It's shocking that it's happened in one of our metro cities, that even in 2020, people are responding and reacting to a social media post in such a horrifying manner in times of a pandemic, not thinking twice before unleashing this kind of a mob hatred. Now, there was anger over this alleged post that had been put up by the nephew of a Congress MLA, so a crowd started gathering outside this Congress MLA's house, demanding that he hand over the nephew to them, as if they are the police, there to take action and put this man behind bars. An angry mob gathered there. They then started sloganeering. They resorted to violence, arson, demanded the arrest of Naveen. Naveen is the nephew of the Congress MLA who got targeted here. They then diverted their wrath at the police station in KJ Halli and DJ Halli police stations. Over 70 policemen have been injured. Vehicles were set ablaze. Furniture was completely vandalized. Journalists were not spared. Stories of horrors from journalists are emerging, viewers. Those who were looking for a place to hide last night because the mob didn't even spare them. This was the extent of anger and outrage. I don't know what they were told and how they were incited. But that group of people was out of control last night. Police had to resort to tear gas shells. In return, from the other side, they threw bottles at the police van. 145 people have been now arrested, including a few linked to the outfit SDPI. Can you believe it? People resorting to this kind of a violence over a social media post? There are far more serious things happening in our country. And who gave them the power to come out on streets in times of a pandemic like this? What really went wrong in Bengaluru last night is the question I am asking this evening. Let's say good evening to the panelists who are with us right now. Aiyshwarya Mahadev, National Spokesperson for the Congress Party. Mr. S. Prakash, Spokesperson for the BJP in Karnataka. Rajshekhara, Political Editor of Bangalore Mirror. And Dr. Tasleem A Rehmani, National Secretary of SDPI and President of the Muslim Political Council. But I actually want to go across to Aiyshwarya first. Aiyshwarya, it's unimaginable that we can still see these kind of violent incidents in our metro cities. What happened? How did things go so terribly wrong?
I think first and foremost, this is absolutely deplorable that such an incident has taken place. Whether it's a pandemic or during a lockdown, such instances of violence are absolutely abhorrent, and the Congress Party has the strongest condemnation for them. Whether it was a post that incited them or whether it was premeditated based on another intention, at the end of it, an investigation is going to tell us. And we hope that the government will take the strongest action against all these perpetrators, because no matter what it is, such sort of actions and violence being resorted to is something that deserves the strongest action and condemnation. And that is what the Congress Party has spoken about time and time again. It is our MLA in question, yes. His nephew, who the MLA has also clarified, had his own political leanings, had said what he had to, but at no point was this justified also. There could have been a recourse to law within a civilized society. and that is what the party leadership has also put out throughout the day. There are also a lot of lapses in the procedure and what seems to have happened, which I'm sure in the coming days the Ministry of Home Affairs as well as the police can tell us where things went wrong and how it escalated to such an extent, Tanvi.
Yes, but what do you mean by lapses in the procedure, Aiyshwarya? And how did this start? Somebody has to be behind it. That's the big question. But what do you mean by lapses in the procedure?
So, for example, Tanvi, if you want to gather around 3,000, 4,000 people in an attack which seems to be orchestrated or coordinated, you need to realize that every time these things happen, you also see that the police force and the intelligence should have enough information about what is happening, one. And second, when they're allowed to rampage like this for hours, and where the police force, Bangalore has one of the best police forces and also one of the best equipped, and if they could not stop it for so long, I think there's a larger question of why they weren't able to stop it. And it's very unfortunate that police stations themselves have been vandalized. And I think that is what we also need to look at. The government, it is a law and order issue. Yes, it has a larger communal ramification. Yes, it was an incendiary post about one religion. And irrespective of that, the law and order situation should have been maintained. You could have curtailed a lot of this attack.
Yeah, irrespective of that. Nothing justifies this rampage. Nothing at all justifies this rampage. No Facebook post, social media post, comment can justify the violence that was unleashed on the streets of Bengaluru last night. Mr. Rajshekhara, good evening to you. Help our national viewers understand what happened. How did things go out of control so badly with hundreds of them on the streets last night?
I think it's, as the Congress spokesperson said, it is orchestrated. There is no doubt about it. And the police could have kept a tab on this. But unfortunately, what has happened in the recent past in Bangalore police is that they are more interested in getting postings rather than keeping the intelligence. And there is a saying in Karnataka that the intelligence is the most useless wing. Whoever is not fit for policing will be put in intelligence. That could be one of the reasons that intelligence failure. But having said that, the violence of this scale and magnitude, killing, setting the MLA's house on fire is unbelievable in the recent past. Nothing of this sort has happened. I don't know why the political parties, instead of addressing the issue, are in a slugfest criticizing each other, Congress and the BJP. So I fail to understand why the police reached there late. Even if they reached on time, I think things were out of control because of the large crowds that had gathered there, and they had no clue. Absolutely, police were involved in COVID and other issues. I think nobody paid attention to this. That something is happening behind the scenes like this. So it's time that that the intelligence wing of the police, particularly in Bangalore, is strengthened. That could be one of the primary concerns of the government in power now.
Mr. Prakash, how could... Yes, let me get in, Mr. Prakash. Mr. Prakash, how did this happen? So hundreds and thousands of them on the streets. I mean, some of these stories are spine-chilling. What happened last night? Journalists were running for cover. Journalists were being thrashed. They didn't know where to hide because the mob wasn't sparing anybody that came in their way. Over 70 cops have been injured badly. Police stations set ablaze. Congress MLA's house, targeted. How did we allow this to happen?
No, it's a larger conspiracy because of that this incident has taken place. It's not easy to assemble 3,000 to 4,000 people at a time in a matter of very short span of time. The policeman in Bangalore is hard pressed with the COVID duty, and blaming the intelligence and blaming the policeman is the easiest thing we can do it. Let the investigation, the district magistrate will be inquiring into it. Then where are the lapses? Is the intelligence failed? Are the police failed? Or there was a bigger conspiracy to create trouble, create problem, indulge in violence? Will come out. We have been witnessing, this is the third violence by the particular community in Karnataka. It happened in Bangalore. It happened in Padarayanpura, where Mr. Congress MLA himself supported them. and now again in Kaval Sandra and DJ Haldi. This is third incident in the last 1 year period. So you should look at it in the larger outlook. Otherwise, just this one-off incident does not give you the clear picture of the scene, what happened yesterday. Hundreds of vehicles have been torched. MLA house was looted. Neighbors' houses were attacked. Former BJP corporator house was attacked.
What is the larger picture?
Larger conspiracy is there. It is happening everywhere, at many places. Such kind of riots we are witnessing. For a trivial
so whose
reason,
job is to control law and order and crack down on anybody who's conspiring and hatching these plots? Whose job is it? Mr. Prakash, whose job is it, Mr. Prakash, to keep control on law and order, to keep a check on whoever it is that is making these conspiracies and carrying out these conspiracies in multiple places, if you say so? Okay, we're going to get back, Mr. Prakash. We don't have the audio line through with him right now. Let me get in Dr. Rehmani. Dr. Rehmani, what's happening? Your organization is again and again being found involved in one instance after the other. Who is misguiding your organization and the men part of your organization?
You see, our organization is a peaceful organization. It's a registered political party. We believe in constitution. We believe in law and order. We believe in judiciary. We believe in the system. And I say that it was a well-planned, well-orchestrated, conspired violence yesterday. It was not a communal violence. It was a mob frenzy rather, which the law and order machinery has totally failed to address to. It was not just a momentous kind of an abrupt uprising of some people. No, it was more than 48 hours that the post was given on the. And it is such a harsh post that the police must have taken the suo motu cognizance of that post, which they did not take. And even after the insisting that the FIR must be registered, they only registered. Nothing, no action. At 7 p.m. yesterday, when the action was demanded, they did not come out. I do not endorse any violence. I condemn it. But I want to know that this man, who has posted this Facebook post, he belonged to some way or the other, he belonged to the BJP. Although he is the nephew of a Congress MLA, but actually he is a Congress worker, a BJP worker. And because he was a BJP worker, that's why the police tried
How
to
does that matter? How does that matter, Dr. Rehmani? How does it matter what his ideology was? What his post was? No, 1 minute.
This has to be investigated.
1 minute. Can I just ask a question to Dr. Tasleem Rehmani? How does it matter? I am not going to have yelling on this show, Mr. Prakash. You know it very well. You've been on debates on Mirror now very often. You know we don't yell over each other. I'll give you your chance. You're back with us. Your audio line has just been fixed. I will come back to you. But Dr. Rehmani, how does it matter? What that person's ideology is, who that person is linked to, who put up that post. Does it justify the mob violence? Does it justify what happened last night? It doesn't. So why are we going there?
No, I am not justifying. Not at all. We cannot endorse any kind of violence. We condemn it, we denounce it. I'm just pointing a finger to the police administration of Bengaluru, which is said to be the most the professional police force of the country. If they are investigating agencies are failed to give inputs, if they are failed to act at an appropriate time, and there is such a large mobilization of people, 4,000 people mobilization is not a small thing. And then when you blame us, we see that our leaders, the Muzammil Pasha himself was sitting inside the police station trying to cooperate with the police. He has been, I can show you the videos that he is appealing to the people to remain silent, calm and peaceful, and the legal procedure will be taken up at
on the screen show how manner. The mob is getting incited, Mr. Tasleem Rehmani. Visuals on the screen show us how the mob was incited and led forward.
It is to be investigated that who were these stone pelters there. It is
Two
to be
of your
investigated.
party
Who are
members,
those stone
two of
packers
your
and
party
creating
members
these
have
troubles?
been found. Please tell me, Dr. Rehmani, please tell me, two of your party members have been found linked to this one, accused of inciting violence. In this case, four of them were found linked to the protest that happened in January in Bengaluru that took an ugly turn, a violent turn. Across the country, we had anti-CA protests. At no point did it get violent except in Delhi and in Bangalore. How? How did it get violent in Bangalore? And how was SDPI related to it? SDPI was again related to the violence that happened in December. 6 SDPI leaders were arrested then. Now, is this a conspiracy against SDPI? Or are your workers inciting people?
I tell you. You see, yesterday around 150 people has been arrested. Out of them, only 3 belong to the SDPI. So, there were so many people, so many organizations, general people. They were also there, but they were trying to maintain and the peace. I can show the videos. They were trying to maintain the peace and pacify the gathering. It was that role. As far as the Bangalore and Delhi violence, there is no maintainable case against those in Bengaluru or in Delhi or elsewhere. They tried.
Dr. Rehmani, please don't mislead my viewer. I don't know if you have. Dr. Rehmani, I don't know if you have heard the visuals that have emerged. They have audio recordings as well. They have an audio on it. I don't know if you've heard it. I will not play it on my channel. I don't want to incite more sentiments. But it's very clear what is being said and who's inciting or calming down. Please don't mislead people here now after these visuals have emerged, Dr. Rehmani.
Now, what is the misleading? What is the misleading? This is an open case that there is no maintainable case against the PFI or SDPI people elsewhere in the country. There are so many times the NIA investigation has been conducted in Kerala, in Karnataka, in Tamil Nadu, but there was no substantiative evidence against the PFI workers. That's why I said in Jharkhand, the same BJP has tried to ban us, but they could not stand in the court. That's why they are only using our name as a veil to whatever bad and wrong thing they are committing, be it the Congress or the BJP, whosoever, because they are watching that their vote bank is slipping out of their hand, so they blame to us. This is their politics. We don't believe in the political killings as the RSS and the BJP believes in Kerala, in West Bengal, and so many other states.
I think you are in denial of what is happening. You are changing your answers to me. Sometimes you give me the excuse that out of the 150 people, Dr. Rehmani, sometimes you tell me out of 150, only 3 are SDPI. Sometimes you say they were there to file a police complaint. Please, that visual, the audio is very clear in it. They are not calming people down at all by any standards. You need to see it for yourself and figure out what's happening. How is it that SDPI is getting linked to one after the other cases? Mr. Prakash, please respond to what Tasleem Rehmani is saying. He is saying SDPI keeps getting named with every other violent incident, but nothing ever comes of it when the investigation is done.
No, today 3 of the SDPI activists have been arrested and the police are investigating the case. Even in Bangalore Riots, many of the SDPI workers have been arrested and the case is going on. Even in certain murders which took place in Karnataka, many of the SDPI activists were involved and they are facing the cases in several courts. Police investigation is on. He is jumping to the conclusion they are the most honest and they are clean and they don't violence-free organization. They are the one who are fomenting communal violence, communal disturbances in many parts of the country. Bangalore is no exception.
No.
There was a large, that is what I said, larger conspiracy is behind it and SDPI hand is very clearly visible in it. He may be in a denial mode. He says out of 145, only 3 were SDPI activists. Does he know all the biodata of all those 145 arrested in Bangalore? And he says Navin is a BJP supporter. He is sitting in Mumbai or somewhere else. I don't know where he is speaking from. He is making a very baseless allegation, pointing fingers at us. Is that the point which party he belongs to? The issue is the rampant violence took place. They attacked the police, burned police station, harassed the people. Such violence should be condemned. They are not forthcoming on it.
So
They are trying to shift the attention to some other.
I will send you.
Please be honest. Please accept it. This is not the first time it has happened in Bangalore. Even in 1986,
Mr. Prakash,
violence I am posting. 17 people were killed in the firing. 17 people in Karnataka. In Bangalore itself, 6 people were killed. And how does it justify it? Please accept your drawback.
I will send you. I will send you the Facebook post of the same man Naveen appraising the BJP and the Mr. Modi.
I am not defending Ranil.
I will send you the Facebook post by the same man.
I don't know him. I am not supporting him also. I said his remarks are not in good
Then accept that he belongs to your party.
Why should I accept when he belongs to the Congress party?
But accept it that he belongs to your party.
How can he belong to my party? Please explain me. Please tell me.
I will send you the Facebook post praising you.
I have seen the just because he supported the Bhumi Pujan program, you put him in BJP for that. He is the nephew of the Congress party MLA. Today everybody want to disown him. As long as he was writing, why did the Congress party kept quiet? They should have spoken to him. A simple issue.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry, Mr. Prakash and Tasleem Rehmani. Why are we obsessing over whether that Naveen Kumar is a Congress guy or a BJP guy? He put up a Facebook post. Is he the one who was on the streets unleashing the violence? Is he the one instigating people for violence on the streets? Is he the one who set somebody's house or a police station or a car or a van ablaze? Is he the one who thrashed the journalists who were out there simply doing the job? Is he the one part of the government who's failed to do their job, or the police who did not know that this kind of a conspiracy was being made? I mean, I am tired of hearing this, Mr. Rajshekhara, and then I will go across to Aiyshwarya. If we are told every time that this seemed like a pre-planned conspiracy, whether it's the incidents that happened last night in Bengaluru or what happened in Delhi early this year, how is the police always caught unaware of these conspiracies? And then within 5 minutes of the incident, how do they turn around and tell us it was pre-planned? Do they not get a whiff of it earlier, Mr. Rajshekhara?
Yeah, exactly. That is a question. I think every time such incidents happen, we talk about intelligence failure. Unfortunately, that is true in many cases. This is no exception. And this post was made few days back, not yesterday, day before yesterday. And when the police the Karnataka police is one of the most IT savvy police in the country. They have highest following on social media platforms. They have a big presence in social media platforms. They track everything on social media. At least they say that they track everything that is posted on social media. And in some cases, they have taken actions also. But unfortunately here, what has happened in the recent past is there was change of guard in city police. The city police commissioner was transferred and a new person had come, and he was out of isolation and just had taken charge. Probably there was no coordination, I think, looks like that. And the intelligence, the Bangalore police intelligence is luck by chance most of the times, because there is no trained intelligence person per se in Bangalore police or in the state police. It's one more post for the police there, and there is no ground level networking. The beat system is there, but in Bangalore, I don't know how it is working. It's not effective. This is quite reflective in this incident. The basic thing is the beat system, the constabulary on the ground who network with the people and with institutions like mosques, churches, temples, wherever they, and particularly DJLE, KJLE has been a communally sensitive area for decades. The first communal riots, wherever it happens in Bangalore, this is one of the hot spots. Everybody knew. And BJP government in place in Karnataka, they should have been more alert in these kind of sensitive places and keep track of things much better than what they have done now. I mean, it's a failure on the part of the intelligence as well as the government to keep track of things. And unfortunate that Facebook post triggered this kind of violence. The mobsters doesn't require anything, and just need a small trigger to do this. And we have seen in Bangalore how the communal riots, though strictly this cannot be called a communal riot, has happened. It just escalates in no time. There is no time for anybody to react, even the police. So the best thing is they should have learned from the past experiences and kept tab on these areas where they think are communally sensitive or mob frenzy areas like DJL, KJL, Padaranpura, as Prakash was mentioning. These and every time the communal riots happen in these localities only in Bangalore. So why is that the police is not keeping extra vigil on these localities? Particularly when BJP in power, particularly when they think that SDPR is triggering violence. Why is that the police or the Home Minister did not direct the police to keep a tab on sensitive areas and tighten the security there, improve the intelligence network, improve the beat system there? They could have done all these things. So I don't know why. Probably the police was also overstretched because pandemic has done a lot of damage to police posts.
Correct. In fact, let me ask Mr. Prakash to respond to that. Yes, I understand. All the police forces are also right now stretched because of pandemic. But now the night curfew is also gone. The day restrictions have also been eased up. Then why is it, Mr. Prakash, that when you say it was a conspiracy, that the police did not know what was happening?
No, conspiracies are not made to the police and then you do it. The inquiry has been ordered. They will look into it. If there is any lapses, certainly they will be attended to. I agree on several points raised by Mr. Rajshekhara. He has raised some pertinent points. Certainly, these issues will be looked into by the government and as well as the investigation officers. Why did they indulge in such a violence in those two areas only? That is to be looked into. We should focus on it. It is not about one posting on Facebook by an insignificant person. Why our principal opposition party did not speak against it till 14 to 16 hours? What was the dilemma? And how did they put the blame on Bharati BJP that Naveen belongs to BJP? It is this approach we are opposing, we are criticizing. We have never said this is a conspiracy of our Congress party. It is a conspiracy by the SDPI and some fundamentalist forces who want to create communal tension in Bangalore.
No, it is actually your conspiracy
so
because you are
them.
the mastermind of fomenting violence in so many places all across the country.
We are not sitting on
If the BJP and the Karnataka government has evidence of SDPI's link or PFI's link in any case, then crack down on them. If you are recommending a ban on them, follow up with the center and find out what happened. 3 states, Uttar Pradesh, Assam, Karnataka have said so. I don't know why the action is not being taken. Every time there is loss of lives, loss of property, damage, police men getting injured, then you make these allegations, then you charge at the SDPI. But why don't we take action when you should be taking action?
Yes,
now, let me quickly get in Aiyshwarya Mahadev to respond to this. Aiyshwarya, since when, sir? That's the whole point. When will we come to a closure on any case? Aiyshwarya Mahadev, respond to what Mr. Prakash is saying about Congress trying to politicize this unnecessarily when that's not the real focus.
Okay, Tanvi, this is the third debate I've been on with Mr. Prakash, and this is the third time I'm going to clarify this. That when the violence began, 2 of our MLAs, Mr. Rizwan Arshad and Zamir Ahmad, rushed to the spot in order to calm people down. You also had people from the mosques as well as clerics trying to calm down the situation. And the minute this incident happened, you saw that the Congress party also reacted first. Second thing, we're not communalizing or we're not sitting and politicizing because, Tanvi, the sequence of events was this. This boy, Naveen, is obviously related to the Congress MLA. So the first statement that came out is that Congress MLA's nephew has insulted, one community and the Prophet, and that's why we came out and clarified. Akhanda Srinivas Murthy has come out and said that he is my nephew, yes, but that does not mean we ascribe to the same political ideology. And the larger part of this, Tanvi, I'm asking them also. Right? When we were in government, they kept saying ban SDPI, ban PFI, ban a whole bunch of organizations. Now they have government here. They have government in Delhi also. If they had enough locus standi or enough proof and evidence to ban them, why don't they do it? Because this is the sort of political whataboutery and profiteering that the BJP stands to gain by creating a polarized and vitiated environment of toxicity. The fact of the matter is, if the BJP wants to put its money where its mouth is, they should have taken action. Why are they sitting and waiting for every one of these instances, whether it's Mangalore, Padra, or even now? If they believe that they have so much against these institutions and organizations that their MPs and ministers, even before an investigation, can lay blame on them, why is it that they don't have the conviction to actually ban these organizations? It's because of the fact that they like to create a spectacle out of polarization. They stand to gain by dividing, because the dividend of dividing society is so much higher, because the us versus them is the basic premise how the BJP works. We are condemning it. We are condemning whoever's wrong in this. I'm saying you should get the BJP to tell you why they're not taking stricter action, because Mr. Prakash himself has said this is the third instance.
No, but... Okay, Mr. Prakash, please respond.
Madam, Congress party questioned where is Ram Mandir, where is Ram Mandir? You are raising it for vote's sake. Ram Mandir is coming up. Why did you not Article 370 even after 6 years? They questioned Article 370 removed. They are demanded why triple talaq has not been banned. It has been removed. Similarly, SDPI, they are questioning now SDPI why they have not banned it. We will certainly ban. We will not disappoint them. It is under the scanner, investigation agency scanner. Have patience. Their suitable action will certainly follow. We are not the party who looks at the vote before we take any action. Ours is national interest is paramount, and we act accordingly. We do not point fingers at others. We take the blame if there is anything lapses are there, and we correct it. And we have done in the past also. In the last 6 years, under the Narendra Modi leadership, this country has progressed, and it will continue to progress. All these elements who are trying to create communal disturbances will be suitable action will be initiated against them. They will be certainly facing the music very shortly. I'll request Madam to wait for some time to see what action
Yes, I'm completely out of time, but I want to say this to all of our panelists and to our viewers. I am a little disappointed that the conversation keeps going back to who Naveen Kumar is and what his ideology is and what is his link. The man who put up the Facebook post that got all these people riled up. I don't know why we are not spending so much more time finding out who incited this violence. If it's a conspiracy, who conspired? SDPI activists have been arrested. They can be heard on the video inciting people, asking them contrary to what SDPI claims right now, then why don't we take action against this outfit? If repeatedly the BJP government in Karnataka and in other parts of our country has to tell us that SDPI and PFI are creating trouble on ground, then why aren't we taking stricter action against them? Why aren't we proving these cases and sending more people behind bars? If it wasn't just SDPI and somebody else was there and it's a part of a larger conspiracy, why aren't we talking more about that? Over 150 people have been arrested, but the horrifying night will remain in minds of hundreds of people who had to face it last night. Those policemen, those journalists, people living in that locality, there are reports that have emerged of how these mobsters simply just entered their homes and stole whatever they wanted to. It was a rampage and we couldn't get a control on it. Started at about 7 in the evening, went on till early morning hours today. What was the police doing? We need answers to these questions. I don't care about who wrote that post and what his political ideology is. It doesn't justify the mob which was out there, irrespective of what's happening on social media and what post was put up. Nothing justifies this mob violence. I want to know who got these 150, 200, 500 people together and carried out this attack last night. Thank you so much for joining us on this conversation.